and see how high it's gonna go. Check this out. The first Mazda CX-50. Today, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about this model and why did this thing join the Mazda lineup. I'm going to show you how this thing drives, all the features, how different it is from the CX-50, its main competitors, and what is Mazda trying to achieve this with this CX-50. Like, why should you pick this over a standard CX-5? What makes this special? And most importantly, today we're going to take this off-road, and as you can see, we've already done that. And now I'm going to review it. And also, for the first time, we're going to include a trailing test. So this thing today, thanks to Mazda Canada, came with an actual trailer at the back. So let's start first with the details. So why did this thing come about? Like, what's the purpose? What is Mazda trying to achieve with this? Well, think of this as a Coke Zero. You have a standard Coke, and then there is the Diet Coke, and then you have the Coke Zero right here. So it's another choice, a little bit better, but not so much better than what the Coke standard, like the Diet Coke, offers. That's the idea over here. It's more for the people that are looking for a vehicle that is more of on-road and off-road, and this thing does both very well. In terms of the design, this is almost completely different from a standard, let's say, CX-5 or any other Mazda for that matter. It's gone to the gym, it's joined one of those fitness programs. Now it has more biceps and triceps. It looks like a CX-5 on steroids. Even the design, it's actually more square. Even the silhouette is more square than a standard Mazda. The Mazdas usually tend to be more round. This is very boxy style. Let's talk about the front end, for example. The grille has changed slightly, although the size looks very similar to like a standard Mazda CX-5. But now we have a bit more bulky and more aggressive look, especially the headlights, which in my opinion really bring out that aggressiveness and some luxury at the same time. Like, look at this grille, for example, how much further out is extended, and now it's sort of like split in here in comparison to the standards grille they use in other Mazdas. Very aggressive, very bold design, which I very much like, and very different from any other Mazda at this point. The front grille also offers a phone holder. Yes, you can put your phone right here. Look at that. Now you don't have to worry about it anymore. So if you're out there and camping or something, you want to put a can of beer or maybe your coffee or something like that, or the phone in this case, well, you get that area. It also, same thing on the left side of the car. When I mentioned previously that this thing has gone to the gym, well, now it's bulkier. It got some serious steroids in it. And let's start first with the wheel arches. Look how extended this thing is out of this area, and even this part, it's like carved completely, give it a more off-road feeling. And then you move on to the back side, it continues with the same thing all the way to the rear end. Look at this area over here, more bulky. It literally feels like it's on steroids, like a CX-5 on steroids. And then this year, they've made sure that the door is 90 degrees open. Look at that. So in case if you have a crying baby, you have a faster access to shove it in there and let it cry. The phone holders don't end there. We have more over here. Look at that. Besides the actual design, it also has a function, besides the standard one, which is of course for your brake and turning signal and so on. You can just put your phone in there. Look how extended this thing is out. It doesn't look as weird though in person. It might look weird from a camera, but in person it looks very sharp. And in comparison to a CX-5, this is actually smaller now. And as you can see, a bit more aggressive. It's really carved inside. It makes it look very sporty and totally different from a standard CX-5. If you're worried about space, well, the CX-50, unlike the CX-5, it's not wider, but it's actually deeper. So it's more like a station wagon. So it gives you quite a lot of space. For example, that's my camera case, and this is my drone. And look at that. It's deeper, but not as wider. So that way you get more space, and you also can fold the seats, and now that space is extended. So you can actually put longer things in there in case if they don't fit. That's quite helpful. Into the second row. First of all, with this package, we have this beautiful gold stitches onto the seats. Really nice, love that. We have heated seats and 2 USB ports. One thing I can't find in here is a USB-C, something they don't offer with this package. The next thing is that for the first time, I believe Mazda has introduced a panoramic moonroof, which is quite amazing and gets a lot of light inside. I usually see just sunroofs, but now we have a full panoramic roof. We have lights on each side, and it's nice and spacious. I'm 6'2", so I'm taller than the average individual. As you can see, my head is not really touching the roof, but I am close to that. It feels like the vehicle is kind of like squashed a little bit because, as you can see, the window is actually just smaller than what you'd find in a CX-5. CX-50 feels a bit smaller on the inside. From here to there, it's an SUV, but then the upper side feels more like a Mazda 3 in my opinion. Even the doors have a very different design. In this position, the door frame is straight, but then when you open it, it kind of like moves up at the back. It could be because of that 90-degree design that I mentioned previously. Into the first row, let's talk about this. First of all, a lot of familiar things. The steering wheel looks very much like a standard Mazda 3, for example. The center unit over here, very much, again, like a Mazda 3 or the CX-5. We have the control unit here for the infotainment display. And then we have, for the first time, the My Drive, which you can control it from here. You have different driving modes. We have Sport, Normal, and Off-Road, which we'll be testing them today. But here's what's important, and Mazda have done a fantastic job. Instead of you going through pages and pages of different driving modes, well, they've just made it easy. The towing mode only appears when you attach the trailer hitch. Isn't that smart? So every time you're switching modes, you're not going through all those weird modes. On top of that, the off-road only has one. So you're not going between sand, mud, and all that. That's gone. There's just one. The computer knows exactly and where you are, and based on that, the all-wheel drive will send the power to each axle. That's very smart. The next thing I want to talk about is that now we have the wireless charging pads. And what I love about this is the fact that my phone, which is a 13 Pro Max, fits in perfectly. That is great design, because I tend to have a lot of problems with this thing because it's so big. Well, it doesn't fit everywhere. Top of that, we have 2 cup holders in here and then some space onto the side if you, in that case, use it for your phone. The USB ports are located inside. This is a split armrest. So the passenger doesn't bother the driver. You press that, and then now you have access to the armrest. The cluster is very similar to what you'd find in other Mazdas. The heads-up display is offered with this package. Today we have the turbo version. This is the GT Turbo, which offers a turbocharged engine. The infotainment display, we have a full 360 camera. It is equipped with touchscreen Apple and Android wireless connectivity. So you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's pretty smart. So you can connect your phone once and you're done. You can also do it through the cable, but most importantly, you have wireless connectivity, so you don't have to have many cables around it. The climate unit, it's what you find in standard Mazdas. They're not extremely different. We have heated seats, ventilated seats for both passenger and the driver's side. So that is quite important because this is the fully loaded. So here's what you get. Now, let's move on into some of the quirks. In terms of the phone holders, well, let's just say that they didn't stop on the outsides. Now you can slide your phone right here. Look at that. And that would hold your phone. That's great design. You just slide your phone right there and you will hold your phone, because that's the gap between the actual pillar and the Bose audio system speaker. It's the same thing on the right side. But here's one annoying thing about this. The vents, they look completely out of space, or they don't look at the perfect position in my opinion. This design doesn't really match with everything that it has inside. And most importantly, there's this little thing here for the vents that again doesn't make any sense to me. But this design, I don't feel like it fits with this interior. It could have been a little bit better. The chrome didn't have to be that big around it. That's my main complaint about this. The non-turbo CX-50 goes up against the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and the Subaru Forester. And don't worry, because we will do a comparison between the two of them. Now, in terms of the premium models, we have the turbo, which goes up against the Lexus NX 250 all-wheel drive, and most importantly, it also goes up against the German competitors too, if you wanted to compare it. But the pricing is where things get very interesting. You see, the GSL, which is the lower trim, starts at $37,900. That's for Canada. The GT, again, non-turbo, starts at $42,850. Meanwhile, the GT Turbo goes up to $45,000. But that, of course, gives you extra feature, which is first the turbo version. You have My Drive with sport, off-road, and towing modes. And then you have paddle shifters and the extended towing capacity at 3,500 pounds. And then we also have an increased diameter of the exhaust outlets in the back. And you have front and rear lower bumper in black with silver accents. Under the hood, this has a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, but you get two options, and there are three trims. There is a GSL trim and there is a GT trim as well, which only comes with the standard not turbocharged engine. It's just a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter. The difference is that the GT, which is the turbo GT, actually offers the turbocharged engine, and it makes 256 horsepower, but with 93 octane, which is kind of similar to what they offer in the standard Mazda 3, which is a turbo, and you can get a naturally aspirated. You can get the naturally aspirated, which makes it about 187 horsepower. This will make torque up to 320 pound-feet of torque with 93. So that's quite impressive. There's also a difference in towing. The GT Turbo can tow up to 3,500 pounds with the right towing hitch. And the standard one tows up to 2,000 pounds, which is the naturally aspirated, not the turbo one. They both come with the all-wheel drive systems, the Sky Active, which is quite smart. This also has that option. Now, in terms of the trims, you only get to pick three. The higher one is the one that we were driving for today's video, is the GT Turbo. In terms of driving experience, how does this thing feel on road? It's comfortable. Does it feel different from a CX-5? A little bit. One thing I noticed is that the windows kind of like smaller in here, and for someone my height, I feel like from this part and the bottom feels more like an SUV, but then from here and up, well, it kind of feels like a Mazda 3 sedan. That's the way I feel this. In terms of comfort level for me as the driver, I got enough space. Visibility is slightly reduced in this, in my opinion. It's kind of squashed a bit down. It's just the way the design is, and it's more like boxy than it is round, which kind of changes from the standards Mazda offered across the board. The interior is nice. The quality remains similar to the other models, premium interior. The screen here, the infotainment display, does have the control unit in the center, which in my opinion, this should never be changed. Maybe a little bit upgraded, but this is the best thing that Mazda has for the infotainment, because as a driver, I don't have to take my eyes off the front while using the infotainment display. I can literally use it, and if you look carefully, I have all 4 of my fingers in here that I can control each button individually, and then the scroll button. And then now, if you look at the actual infotainment display, it's not even an issue to control this thing. Easy to use. You can go into the back menu. You can go into navigation system. It comes with Apple and Android it comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly. We have heated seats, ventilated seats, climate unit here is what you find in most Mazdas. This hasn't changed a lot. You have the buttons for the steering wheel, the heated option, and that's it. In the center console on this side here, we have the driving modes. In driving modes, we only have Sport, Manual. This is the new, it's called MI Drive. And this basically offers 3 modes, but there is a hidden one, which is the towing. The all-wheel drive and the turbo engine work very well together. Like, for example, let's do a launch control. Here's a little trick that they use in this Mazda. When you push down the pedal, it makes you feel as if you're going really fast. But then you look down at speedometer, you're not going that fast. But there's a good feedback between the pedal and you as a driver, and also that gas pedal and the engine. So the throttle reacts really quickly. There's a good balance between that kind of driving experience with the engine and that pedal. Every time I put down my foot, it feels like you're getting a lot of horsepower of the engine, and you can hear the turbo really well. It works really well, but it's just a little trick that I find with this is that it feels like you're going really, really fast, but you're not really that fast. But it doesn't have any turbo lag, and it also doesn't have that jerking as you're putting down the foot. It reacts quickly. The transmission goes into the right speed. I have it now in off-road mode. The RPM changes slightly in off-road as well, of course, to give you that extra power. And being an all-wheel drive, of course, you're not going to have much issue getting stuck unless you're really going that deep. It does have a good ground clearance. It has good cornering. The iActive all-wheel drive really does a great job to keep the car in sharp corners. Look at that. And it's actively sending the power to each axle. Too sharp cornering. Come on, you can do it. We're going uphill now. Nice work. Not much sliding. Let's see how high it's gonna go. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I think that's the max it goes. Okay, so now we're going to do a test with towing. See, the towing actively says here, it shows in the actual cluster it's activated automatically. So that only happens when it's attached. So you will not see the towing modes until the actual towing is attached here, the accessories and everything is attached, and then now it shows in there because technically you're not supposed to drive in sport mode while towing. You're not going to do that. So now we're going to do a quick test with this to see how well it handles. It does have a brake assist with Bluetooth connectivity, but some cars will offer that package. But nonetheless, we're going to go and see how this thing works and how well it drives with towing. The actual equipment at the back that we're towing today, technically it's an RV style, it is about close to 3,500 pounds, which is the maximum you can tow with the turbo engine. The non-turbo is maximum of 2,000 pounds. So with this, you can tow up to 3,500 pounds. But that RV at the back is actually just 30 pounds lighter than the maximum towing capacity that this has. But nonetheless, it's actually close to 3,500 pounds. So this will be a good test. What we're trying to show with this is basically that the vehicle can handle that kind of towing, and how it handles in normal roads as if you're going to use it for towing whenever it's needed. The accessory is attached. The car is in towing mode the entire time because it knows that you have a hitch at the back, so you're technically towing something, but you won't see that till that connection happen. So right now, which is quite smart, because that way it avoids you going through different modes all the time. You just have sports, normal, and off-road. Then towing doesn't show up until that happens. Visibility is good on this thing. Now, we're not towing a big boat. It's just a standard one. Going into corner, even at the legal speed, it's handling well. It doesn't feel like there is too much weight at the back. It feels very natural in this car, which is kind of shocking to me. It's actually handling very well. Let's try the braking. Okay. This is probably my third time that I've towed anything, or fourth time. I've towed something heavier than this, but it's nice. So, to wrap up this video, what do I think about this new CX-50, the first ever CX-50? Well, first, for off-road, it's quite capable. There is a confidence, as you saw in the video. We took it in certain areas. This is not meant at level 10 off-roading. This is not meant for the same driving off-road that you would do with a Jeep Wrangler or a Bronco. This is more for people that want to take this to the cottage and they have some towing to do up to 3,500 pounds. This will do the job fine. The towing was great as well. It does offer quite a lot of features on the inside. The pricing is very competitive. I think Mazda have done a great job overall. Even the design, in my opinion, this looks way better than the CX-5. More aggressive. Maybe you don't like that. I personally think this looks great. But here's the problem I see with this. It's either going to win those CX-5 fans, or it's going to lose that. And my main concern in the long run with this CX-50 is the fact that it might overshadow the CX-5, which means Mazda could potentially phase that out completely. But here's some great news about this. We were told that potentially this might receive a plug-in hybrid, which will be used in the same Toyota models, which is great. And this is also built in the same Toyota plant, just in a different department, which is great news as well. But that is what I think about the new CX-50. Great driving, great comfort, great interior, great power, lots of options, well priced. It's just that right now it's going to confuse people a little bit between the CX-5 and the CX-50. That was it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.